again, I know that I've repeated myself, but getting out of the group is such a good achievement for them. But the communication needs to be there. You could sense that Matt Turner, needs to be more communicative. The entire back line needs to be more communicative. But again, I go back to the number one thing. This, to me, honestly, was a masterclass from Van Gaal, because he wasn't freaking out by, okay, you think we're boring. Let's turn it on, and let's basically do what Bill Belichick does with the New England Patriots. I'm going to see your strengths, and I'm going to nullify them. And that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, and it also felt as well, guys, that Louis van Gaal was like, okay, US, you can have the ball. It's absolutely fine. You can have the ball, because we're not fearful that you're really going to hurt us. Yep. Did you get that sense, Frank?
Oh, yeah, definitely. That was the option A. I would have loved to see United States scoring, to know if they were an option B, where they would be able to attack and to be as effective as they've been. That was a perfect scenario for them, scoring the first goal in counterattack, because that was really a counterattack, and then waiting. Like he planned everything. So he has the experience knowing that it would happen that way. He had the hopes that it would happen that way, and it really happened that way. So, yeah, of course, hat off. But I would have loved to see the other option. I want to see it. But we're going to see maybe in the next game, where maybe he's going to face a team who doesn't want to play. So we're going to see if they're going to be able to do something else.
Well, I'm not sure Argentina, right? Yeah, probably Argentina. Just one more thing. Frenkie de Jong today was magnificent. I thought he was fantastic today.
Well, you have talents in that Dutch team. I mean, and no doubts that you don't reach the quarterfinal of a World Cup and being undefeated for so long randomly. That's not possible. And we all know that Frenkie de Jong plays for Barcelona and is one of the talents of the new generation. And he's been like that since he played for Ajax and since his young age. He's a kind of a masterpiece. You can rely on that player. He's the young Guardiola of the Barcelona, because when he has the ball, he exactly know what to do before he receives the ball, which is the key for midfielder.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the Dutch then, shall we? We'll bring Mark Ogden in as well. And just before we do turn our attentions fully to this Netherlands side, Mark, it would be good to just get your take on what you saw from the US men in this game and how it differed to what you've seen in the groups from them.
Yeah, I just felt, in comparison to the Dutch as well, it felt like the Dutch were just an experienced tournament team. A lot of players who knew what they were doing, had seen it all before, that knew how to manage the game, manage the tournament. And the US were kind of racing at the gate. It was like, this is on the brink of the quarterfinals, and it's almost like, it's not history, but it felt like history for the US, because it's such a big moment to face a team like the Dutch. And it just felt like the Dutch were kind of just going through the gears. They've been in this situation before, and the US were just champing at the bit, really. And I think that like the guy said, the Pulisic miss was massive, and it just felt like that they looked like a young team, which they are, that didn't know how to manage the game and manage the occasion. And I just saw the Dutch. I don't think a particularly good team. I think that as soon as they face a team like Argentina, they'll lose. They haven't faced a really strong team. The Dutch like LME's earlier analogy about Floyd Mayweather, it was like an experienced boxer that's seen it all before, just waiting for a younger rival to punch himself out and just bang, 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 every chance hits him on the break. Depay's finish, even Daley Blind's finish, just very calm. They took the chances straight away. It just looked like one team that knew how to manage a tournament and a game against a team that didn't know quite what to do. But they're a young team, and this will be massive experience for 2026, how to deal with playing a team of this stature. And like I say, the Dutch are, for me, they're a tier B team. They're not a tier A team, but they're a step up what the US have faced already. And I include England in that. I just think the Dutch, when they get the ball and pass it around, and they're just clever. And Van Gaal schooled Berhalter, who's just clever and just fantastic game management. Of a coach who's getting the best out of a squad that I think, in terms of Van Gaal, he knows its limitations. David Klaassen had a disastrous time in the Premier League with Everton. Memphis Depay stunned the play set at Man United. A lot of players in that Dutch team have had setbacks in their career, but Van Gaal has put them together to make them a very effective Dutch team. And if they had a striker of any kind of, quality like a Van Persie or a Van Nistelrooy or a Van Basten, this team would be a threat, but they haven't, and that's why Van Gaal's doing well to manage what he's got.
But that's the great thing about World Cups, isn't it, Mark? You see players that maybe who aren't always doing their best really raise the game when they're on the world stage. We've not even mentioned Denzel Dumfries yet. 2 assists and a goal for him. And he does have his critics sometimes in certain aspects of his game domestically, but in this one, he really stood out.
Absolutely. You know, like 2 assists and a goal, like you're saying. He does always do well for Holland, for the Netherlands. And I think he had a great Euro 2020 as well. And I think this is what Van Gaal does. He does make the unit perform better than its kind of the sum of its parts in many ways. And now less so at the club level with Man United, it was very poor, but with the Dutch team, it just knows how to get the best out of this. I think a quite a limited squad in Dutch terms, and they're nowhere near the Dutch teams of old. But he's managed to get a system that works, and even with a goalkeeper, he's found a solution to a goalkeeping problem that most coaches would never have taken. A guy that hadn't played with the Dutch international level before the World Cup, he's just thrown him in, and he's been one of the key aspects of the tournament because. 6'8", commanding, great save from Pulisic early on. And that's what Van Gaal does. He spots something and he goes with it. Now, we're talking about Argentina probably in the next round. I think that'll be a bridge far, but the Dutch go out the quarterfinals. That is a good tournament. It's a very good tournament for the Dutch, this team anyway.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.